Today let's work on ornaments. Those are fun. Um, we're going to do three different kinds today. I'll put them into three different videos, so each one will be its own, but we'll link them all together if you want to link through. First one being fairly simple, nothing too complicated. The second one a little bit more embellished with the bottom piece on it and a little adornment on the top. And then lastly on that third one, it's going to be mold blown, wrapped and raked, gold and silver fumed, and all kinds of sparklies. And that'll be a fun one. Yeah, take a little bit more time. That'd be more for the advanced people. And it'll take a lot of different techniques to do these. Blowing tubing is a bit harder than working with just solids. There's another aspect to consider, but it is very rewarding to make these, and people love these, especially as gifts. So we're starting off with one of the pre-made blanks. You can see in the links on how to do that. So I'm going to neck down an area with just the material that I feel I'm going to use for this ornament, and that's about that much. So a little tight heat around the circumference, and then I'll marver it down on the edge of that little arrowhead marverer to constrict it and give me, something that's a little bit more bulbous, and it delineates where the ornament will stop and where the rest of my blank tubing will resume. So nice tight heat, it'll start condensing in, and then we'll just assist the condensing with marvering it together a little bit. We don't want to close that up, and you don't want to get it too small. Just neck it down to where you've got about a 9.5 millimeter center section there. And you tell it's 9.5 by referring to the 9.5 handle that you're already working with. So we cut off that little punny there, and we'll get some silver out, and we'll fume it pretty heavy. I don't want to be subtle with this here. I really want the silver to build up some depth to it. It doesn't take much silver to get various colors. Silver is polychromatic, meaning that it reflects all the colors of the rainbow, which is why they used to use it in film. So you get a lot of sparkle out of a little bit of silver. And one of these 2-ounce coins will last, a long time. I use them for, up to a year. So that's not a lot of materials cost. So we've got a heavy fume on, and grab some 4 mil, and I'm just going to rake straight down from top to bottom. Now when you get to the bottom of this rake, pull backwards a little bit, and that'll remove the acute angle that forms at the end. Quite often causes these pieces to crack right where you finish your rake. So we'll put 8 on there. There's 3. There's our 4th. So we go equidistant, lay everything out symmetrically. So we do 4 equally spaced, and then fill in the spaces in between. Don't start and plan on doing 8 and just start working your way around to the other side, because you'll be distributing that stress very unevenly, and pieces will be cooling that you don't want cooling. By rotating it around symmetrically, you do wind up distributing the heat more nicely. So there's our 8 rakes, and we've got our silver fume on. So now I'm going to put a handle over here. I've got a blow hose going, and I am going to heat the whole thing up and work the ends first. The in by the punty and the in by the blank tube. Those I'll want to clean up a little bit, and then heat up that center section, and then we'll blow it all out, and then probably repeat the process once, just to come up with a real nice even bubble. There's the blow hose. So reheat the whole thing a little bit. It was getting a little cool. When you're heating stuff like that up, if you rotate nice and quickly, it'll distribute the heat more smoothly. There are times when you want to rotate much more slowly, and there are times when you want to rotate fairly quick. And this is a time for fairly quick, but not frenetic. Don't go crazy with the speed. A little bit on that other back side. These are the areas that we want to heat in and give a little bit of a twist to the design, independently of blowing the center section. This is just a little bit of prep on the ends. It'll make this whole thing much easier to blow out. There we go. Now our ends are smooth. We can turn our attention to the center part of it and really put in some heat there. We'll melt the design in, and then we'll give it a little bit of a spin, so this whole thing will maintain its spiral from top to bottom. And that marvering thing really helps keeping everything symmetrical and condensing the material together smoothly. So to remove that putty now, and I'm going to pull out the end material, which was way thicker than the rest of it. So I'm going to remove some excess material until I have an even wall thickness on the end of that tube. There we go. Now I'll tap that off into the water and heat up that end and get it ready to use as a marver again. We'll jump up to the big flame and give the whole thing a real good heat and condense it down a bit, and then we'll do one final blow into the wooden paddle to really round it out. Now that wooden paddle soaks in water, so it produces a lot of steam when you put the hot glass to it, and that hot steam literally makes the glass float on the surface, and it's got very little resistance. It's super smooth, and unlike graphite marvering marble molds, it does not leave scratches into the glass to the same extent. So here we go, blow it out. Now you don't want it to fit exactly inside the hole, you just want to rub that mold around it, giving a circular contour to it as it rotates, so it'll accommodate many sizes. It's not just that one size, it's a whole range of sizes that'll fit into that hole and float around smoothly. There we go. It also chills it down fairly quickly. It doesn't stress it. These are, if blown smoothly, they can go straight into vermiculite because they have very little wall thickness, and the loop is also fairly strong and not prone to fractures later. There's a certain amount of asymmetry when you put these things into a kiln and actually anneal them later. So if you're really thin-walled and they're super simple, you're probably going to get a better survival rate on them by not putting them in a kiln and annealing them. However, anything complicated or with welded on components and stuff, of course, it must be annealed. There we go, just rounding out that loop. And I'll put a bunny under the loop, and we'll cut it off, and that'll be all ready to go to stick onto our ornament. I much prefer this method of making loops over dabbing on a whole rod, trying to form a loop and square it out when it's on a piece of hot glass that's cooling. I'd rather make this separate and then apply it quickly and efficiently. And this is probably going to go in the kiln just out of habit, but something this small that you're going to put on something that's going back into the kiln, probably just set it down and stick it on. Okay, get some kiln dust off there. So we're going to heat up that end and heat up the little bit of the loop, and we'll just barely touch them together, and then while blowing a little bit into the hose, very gently, I will pull that rod out, and it'll make a very smooth, seamless weld between the loop and our ornament. Remove the punty, fire polish the little spot where it was attached. Then we'll preheat the fingers or the claws. And we'll take out our ornament and claw up to it. Don't know why I'm taking the kiln dust off there, because I'm going to put it right back in the kiln. Okay, that's secure and straight. Put a little bit of heat there at the very bottom. I'm going to pull it out a little ways. I don't want to have a large surface area of hot glass going on after I seal it, because that cold air or the hot air inside is going to cool, and it will suck in the material. So I want very little material out there when that event finally occurs, so that the amount of glass that's pulled in is either non-existent or negligible. And that one there came out nice and clean on the end. It didn't suck in at all. So this one's done. That's one fun little ornament. Lots of sparkles. In different light, it'll have different colors. Depending on whether it's transmitted or reflected light, it'll have different colors. That's the cool thing about silver. There we go. I'll stick this briefly back into the kiln. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll finish up the others very quickly and see what other kind of designs we can do. Thank you. Please like and subscribe.